So it's all of the above.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Get the book. And I chose all the above only because the archetypes are just personas, and all three questions talked about like persona, like how we portray versus how we are on the inside. So like an archetype. Let me go to the book. Do you need like any explanation in
Oh
regards
no,
to?
that was good. That right there breaks it down.
Okay, awesome. I'll skip to the next one.
Oh wow, I thought confrontation. I said, let me go with then I said,
No, you gotta stick with that gut instinct. And the confrontation is because you're confronting the
right.
inconsistency. Yeah,
Hmm.
so it wouldn't be you active listening as you listening, but when the key word is when the counsel point this out. So when she says it, she's not
Right.
doing active listening or empathizing because that's none of that's used. So she's not summarizing, but she's confronting the
Right.
inadequate behavior. So inconsistency in behavior. All right, let's go to the next one.
I don't know why I was thinking.
So the key word here for me, because I was kind of struggling with this one as well, was that it said is most likely an analytically trained counselor. So you think of analytically, that's psychoanalytic, and that's Sigmund Freud, and that's about the oral fixation. So when you think about like sucking his thumb is oral. It's an oral phallic.
Okay.
And that's Freud's psychosexual stages. And
Yeah.
yeah, so when you think about like analytically trained and you think about sucking thumb as oral, then that's just how I connected that because I remember what Freud like talked about with that. And none of the other answers were relevant. Just thought therapy wasn't relevant. Donald's mechanism of cognitive behavior, because you're not talking about cognitive, you're talking about actual action. And then it's most likely a behavior concerned with symptom. I can't see the rest of it, but it didn't seem like it was in line with the statement. So that's just kind of how I figured it out with sucking his thumb. I just thought, okay, oral phallic, Sigmund Freud. And then I said analytically trained. Okay, that sounds like they match. So that's how I got to that. Do you need further explanation
You
with
see.
that
You
one?
see. Okay. I got it.
Oh, go ahead. What did you about to say? You can ask question.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. All right. Go to the next one.
gonna start choosing what I think first. I'm overthinking.
Yeah, just take your time and like read it. Like even though it's a short response, like an eclectic. When you think of eclectic, think of someone using different methods of therapeutic models to help someone. It's like being open to using a diverse model to treat clients because you work with clients from different cultures. So when you are eclectic, that means you utilize different theoretical models in counseling. So use a wide range. You can use Sigmund Freud, you can use Adlerian, you can use CBT. So it's like you have a full range of modalities that you use to help clients based on their needs. So you think of eclectic, think of counselor who uses a lot of different theories based on the client's needs. So when someone say you're eclectic, you're like, I know I use so many different kinds of theoretical methods with my clients. I'm so diverse. So you can think of it like that.
Yeah.
Now, that one was a little complicated because I couldn't think of who Frederick Thorn was, but that was the correct answer.
It was okay. I was on source of elimination, but I didn't know who that was either.
Because none of the ones that I knew of didn't seem appropriate, but I was like, I didn't know about Frederick Thorn, so we'll talk about him. It's very important to note that Thorn felt that true electricism was more than a hodgepodge of facts. It needed to be rigidly scientific. Thorne preferred the term psychological case handling rather than psychotherapy, as he felt the efficiency of psychotherapy had not been scientifically demonstrated. So pretty much, Frederick Thorn indicated that using eclectic kinds of therapy techniques are better than just using one modality with one person, and then the same thing with another person from a different culture. So when you think of Frederick Thorn, you think of eclectic thinking. And so like you can write that down, that way you can identify that and use that as a word association.
Yeah, I have Thorn eclectic.
Yeah, Frederick C. Thorn, and you can when you think of Frederick C. Thorn, because he has a C in his name, you can like kind of think about that as eclectic, even though it starts with an E. That's how I remember him. Frederick the Eclectic Thorn, right? That's how I would remember it. All right. And the next one.
Right here, I can't, let me see what it is. So why is that?
So countertransference is, so we think about transference. So I do the process of elimination. Cognitive dissonance is more like being emotionally detached or not in that moment, in that present moment, like your mind is somewhere else, so you're not present. Transference is when the client transfers their emotions and feelings onto you. I've never heard of
Right.
positive transference because And I think it might be something such like as a positive transference, but that's like if someone sees, it's like say like what's that person name? Like a mentor. They had a child has a positive transference because they associate that mentor, and they be like, oh, that's like my dad. So that's a positive transference from a client. But then there are some transference that are negative. And when and it's like it's not good for the therapeutic relationships. And sometimes it might help the client process feelings that he hasn't or she hasn't or whoever hasn't thought before. But when you think of counter transference, that comes from the counselor. So because the counselor is obsessed with the fact that the client missed his session, this means that the client has some internal things in regards to why the client missed a session, or maybe they had experience with clients missed sessions before, and they probably feel like, oh, what's wrong with me? Or why didn't this person call me back? So it's like all these internal feelings that someone is having based on this statement, it would be countertransference. Does that make sense? Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, it does.
Oh, okay. Okay. So when you think of countertransference, just think of therapy, therapist. Transference is client. Okay, you got that right? Good. You know, Adlerian talked about the importance of birth order in the family constellation. Okay, good. Okay. So you remember that from the last one, right? The last question?
Right.
Yeah. Good, good, good. It's a good reinforcement.
I forget. I should have picked something else. I think it was.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
see.
a little complicated. I don't know, but I don't know.
Oh wow.
Associationism. All right, let's read that one. Don't panic. This is simply an analogy type question. Let's think this one out together so you can discover how choice B checks in as a correct answer. The first word in the question gives us a clue. It says existentialism is a type of philosophy. Now, existentialism is compared to logotherapy. which is the brand of psychotherapy. The question then mentions behaviorism, which is a type of psychology and more loosely defined as a brand of treatment. So the question tells you that logotherapy grew out of the philosophy of essentialism, and then asks you to fill the blank with the philosophy that led to the formation of behaviorism. Skinner and his concept of operants are behavioristic to be sure. However, neither of them are philosophy. This is an the answer is associationism, which asserts that ideas are held together by association. Now here's a super hint. Although associationism has roots in essay written by Aristotle on the nature of memory, most exams will list John Locke, David Hume, James Mill, or David Hartley as pioneers. My guess is look for the name John Locke on the exam. So when you think of behaviorism, you'll think of associationism, like the philosophy, when it comes to philosophy. Just like logotherapy was derived from essentialism. So I don't know if that helps you, but when you think of behaviorism, you think of the philosophy of associationism.
Okay.
Okay, so you can tie those two together. All right.
I guess that one. I
Yeah, me too. I just tell me how you got to that answer. You just guessed it.
I did. I was trying to rule out the ones I was figuring. I was trying to read through a reinforcement theory elaborated on, and
Mhm.
I don't think I just. I guessed. I'm not
Like
gonna
you
lie.
guess. No, it's fine. Because when you think of basic ID talks about family conflict, like
Right.
sibling rivalry, and then Adlerian talks about social social needs and the need of belonging. And then you
Mhm.
have symptom substitution, which didn't make any sense. So that's why I just picked Edward Thorndike's law of effect. So let's look at that real quick. The law of effect simply asserts that responses accompanied by satisfaction will be will be repeated, while those which produce unpleasantness or discomfort will be stamped out. So if you think about B.F. Skinner, you think about the rats that he did, like
Yeah.
the pellets and stuff like that. And then if you think about Edward, he talks about how people will do things, or the mice would do things based on the satisfaction of getting food. And whenever they see the light or whatever, they'll continue to push. So they kind of get like the reinforcement of getting the food by the light. And even if they don't get the food, they'll still be triggered by the light. So if you think about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
It was, I think I got that one wrong, and we just finished our question. So I'm like,
I don't know why I think it was the
oh no,
opposite.
no. Oh, I got
Oh,
that right.
okay.
I was like, I think I got that wrong. You got that right as well?
Yeah, I got it right.
Okay.
Because I think that was I got it wrong the first time I took it.
Mm-hmm. Because it says Pablo won a Nobel Prize for not for his work in classical conditioning, but his research on the digestive symptoms system. So yeah.
What throws me off is when I hear Skinner, I always think about operant and classical conditioning
Yep.
behaviors and reinforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yep.
Skinner? That's Skinner, right?
Yes. Let me just double check. Let's just look into that real quick so we can verify. I'm gonna read it real quick.
You know, with the dog with the bell and
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the food. Yep. And saliva.
or is that Ivan Pavlov?
Let me look. Skinner's theory of learning says that a person is first exposed to stimulus, which elicits a response, and the response then is reinforced. Let me see if he did it with the animals. Give me 1 second.
So that's Ivan Pavlov, the classical conditioning.
Okay, so he didn't do the one with the dogs. It was Ivan Pablo.
Okay.
But B.F. Skinner did talk about how wanted like responses like illicit stimulus, like, and that that wanted to be more like wanted and needed. So let me see. Let me get more information. So it was B.F. Skinner. Let me see. In the realm of science that has given us Sigma-4, Carl Jung and PJ, Skinner stands out by sheer quirkiness. Scientists who trained rats to pull levers. So you have Ivan Pablo with the dogs, and then you have Skinner with the rats.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how you remember that. Pablo, dogs, Skinner, rats.
Okay. What if it was operant? Oh, so I put condition instead of okay, unconditioned. Social adaptations is such as the animal salivating when a food is called unconditioned. Maybe I'm getting confused between the two. What's the between the two? Conditioned and unconditioned.
So condition is something that's controlled. You're controlling the animals by you're controlling them getting the food. The unconditioned stimulus is them salivating.
Okay.
So
all right.
some people can salivate, some people eyes get big. It's something you don't know
right.
until you see it.
So condition would be when I ring the bell that lets me know the food is coming. Unconditioned is a natural state.
A natural response.
Okay.
Yep.
What? Oh Lord. I think it was what? I think it was the other one. I know it is. I know it is. Oh, I got it. Okay, so okay. Now I'm thinking. All right.
I got that one wrong. You got that one right. So what made you choose instrumental learning?
I was trying to figure out Skinner and his opera. I know you said the rats, and I just remember the rats. I was trying to figure out if they used some type of instrumental. I just remember a video that I watched, and they were going every time they saw something or whatever, they went over to this little. It was instrumental learning,
Okay, good. That's good that you remember that. And then the book has it says one possible memory device here would be that Skinner's last name has an I, and as does the word instrumental, whereas Pablo doesn't. So I guess
That's
you can.
how it tells you to remember it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's very, very, very brief. I'm trying to see like if it's better explanation. So give me a second.
That's cool. That's fine. That's the easy way for me to. That's all I need.
Okay, all right. I don't want to make it more complicated, but I did find some additional information.
Oh, what did you find?
It says instrumental conditioning is another term for operant conditioning.
Okay.
It's a learning process first described by B.F. Skinner. That's it.
Okay. Operate instruments. Operating instruments. Okay.
Yep, it's another term for operant conditioning.
I'm gonna guess. I think it was the other one, but we'll see. Okay. I just say when you respond, is it just your reflexes? Okay.
Yeah, it's like an automatic response. And you think about the saliva from the dogs, like when they salivated for the food, that's an automatic response. It's a reflex.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know,
I didn't hear what you said.
I said I was just trying to pick one. But let me pick one.
I didn't hear what you said.
I was saying it wouldn't let me pick one.
Oh.
I picked C, but apparently it was B. Okay, that's fine. I don't know what's going on with my tablet that I'm using. But you picked the right one, so tell me what made you pick that one.
It's about when you get reinforcers or any reward or anything that's reinforced behavior. You continue to, if it tends to increase that behavior will continue. I was just thinking reinforcement.
Yep.
Of giving someone. I'm a teacher, so if I can reinforce a certain behavior, I'll get that same behavior all the time.
Yep.
That's how I was thinking. I don't know if that's
No,
right.
that makes complete sense. Yeah. I think for me, all reinforcements was one of my things. Is like because all reinforcements aren't good. You have negative reinforcements, positive reinforcements. So I was like, So I couldn't. And then plastic tokens didn't ring a bell to me in this case. And then I was going to choose our secondary because I just didn't think all resources were all reinforcers were good. So that's why I chose that one. So, but that makes sense if they put it that way because it might be the answer on the test. So you did good. All right. I'm gonna use my phone now and then go to the next question.
I gotta hurry up and pick one. Up and do that
No,
one.
me too.
I was trying to read and really.
Yeah, it's a lengthy question, a lengthy statement. I got that. Oh, I got it right. So the reason why I chose that one because when you remove like a behavior from someone, like if someone's acting out and you responded as a positive reinforcement, you just stop responding, and that's considered not a punishment, but you're reducing the behavior by not acknowledging it. And so eventually, like a child would stop doing that because they know they're not getting a response from you.
Right.
So it's not punishment, because punishment is something that like the child wants, and you're like, you can't have it anymore, like because you didn't listen, So at the end of the day, they still getting a response from you. That's how I thought about it.
Okay. I knew. I figured.
Decrease the probability that the behavior will occur.
I said I should have went with that. What I said, punishment. It does decrease the probability that the behavior will occur. But then I said, negative was just sticking out with punishment. Negative punishment. I said,
Yeah. It's just that you gotta like, for me, I have to like really read it, because even though punishment is not preferred, it does decrease the probability that it will occur, but it's
right,
not the most used one, because it's other modes have been more effective than that.
right.
I don't know how I feel about that one. Okay, I was right.
Yeah. I was thinking about what you were saying, saliva. I said the meal is conditioning to go get it, but the meat is actually what's the unconditioned. It's gonna slob.
Yep. See, you got it. No, I did.
Oh wow.
Right. I would have never thought that I was 0.5 or half of a second. Let me see. Let's see. I'm trying to look at that question. Um, as the interval exceeds 0.5 seconds, more trials are needed for effective conditioning. How you will remember that the CS comes before the US. Just remember that is that the right one? Because it doesn't seem like it's a lot. But I would just say read it and just know that the most effective interval between controlled stimulus and uncontrolled stimulus is 0.5 or half of a second.
Half
Because
of a
even
second. Okay.
0.5 or half of a second. Because I think both the explanation can be really wordy and confusing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
You guessed it. You got it right.
No, I got it. So it's no conditioning. Okay. Because if you, right. Okay. All right. I see what it's saying. So it's basically no training if you put the meat before. What's it say? Managers have tried putting the meat for the bill. This usually results in no. That makes sense.
Yeah, because if they hear the bill, they're not going to assume it's with the meat.
Right.
The
I
bill
was
is
just thinking about experimenting. I don't know with my mind, research experimenting and
uh-huh.
okay.
If you think about it in a kid, like if a kid is like if you give a kid candy before they do their chores,
Right. They're
then you're
not
not
gonna
going
do the
to
chores. You're not gonna
right.
get
You're
them
not,
to understand.
to connect that. Oh, you'll get that after you give me the you clean up your
Right.
room, do your chore, right? Yep.
Oh, I had to hurry up and quit something.
Okay. I didn't get the right one. Let's see. Trying to find a good explanation. Stimulus generalization, so-called second order conditioning, occurs when a stimulus similar to the control. So when he humped the horn, the dog had a secondary idea that was like a bill, pretty
Yeah.
much. So when they humped the horn, the dog started salivating because it was similar to what the bill sounded like.
Right.
So that will be stimulus generalization, or what Pablo termed as irradiation.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why I picked that.
I don't know. I
I
hope I
think
picked
it
the right.
was it eradication.
I picked discrimination at the bottom.
I did too, but I was trying to figure out. It was, trying to. Okay, I got it. My thoughts in my head was.
Oh, you got it. So stimulus discrimination, like being able to discriminate, and I don't know how I thought about it, but like being able to discriminate between the two or to
Right.
know the difference between the two. That's
Yeah. Yeah. I got it right. Can you see when I get it right too?
You're doing fine. All right.
Uh-oh. I just clicked on something because it was time was running out,
No, it's fine.
and I know that's not it. I knew it was.
And you know why? Because all the other questions had this like option in it. And I was like, this has to be it because none of them were presented before. So
I don't
experimental.
went. I just clicked on something. I said, why did I click on border? Because I kept saying it's an experiment. Now they're experimenting on this poor dog,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what stuck out. But then I looked at the time. I was up, click something.
You was like, I don't know.
But I figured it was that because I said after a while, now he's trying to see,
Mm-hmm. So it's like it says stop it, you're driving the dog crazy. So when the dog starts to just react, like I can't do it, like it's just like the dog is done. Like you can't get the kind of response you want anymore. Um, and it doesn't help. So Pablo termed this phenomenon as experimental neurosis. When the differentiate oh my god, I can't talk. When the differentiating process becomes too tough because the stimuli are almost identical. So think of experimental neurosis. When that sets in, that's when whatever animal, whoever's being experimented on, they can't identify the differences in between the two.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I'm gonna try it. I don't know, but I want to see if this is it. Okay, got it
Got it
right.
right. Yeah, that's good. Because you think at that point the dog is no longer going to salivate anymore. The dog is no longer going to know that the bill is paired with the cheeseburger, and then the behavior will stop. It will be extinct, and the
Mhm.
salivation will disappear. So, like with kids, you think about with kids, if you stop giving them candy, they're probably not going to want to do their chore anymore because they don't have that reinforcement anymore.
Right. Oh, I don't know why I'm thinking it is this. Let me see.
We'll see. I think I might have picked the right one. We'll just see.
You got it right.
Yeah. Um,
What?
I remember that from the last, I think the last 50 questions. It talked about little Albert. I
No.
can't remember exactly what it was about. But I know John B. Watson was the one who did the experiment. Let me look it up real quick so you can have an idea what Little Albert was with John B. Watson.
Can I
Little,
run to the restroom real quick?
yeah, go ahead. No, it's fine.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So Little Albert, when you think of Little Albert, you're gonna think of course, John B. Watson. He was the first person to do classical conditioning with humans, and he did it with a little boy named Albert. So if you think
Oh,
of that, so you think about John B. Watson, he was the first person to experiment with classical conditioning with humans, and it was with a little toddler named Albert.
okay. Mm.
I had that one wrong too.
What did you pick?
Negative reinforcement, but then I
I
didn't think about extension because that makes sense because you're trying to eliminate a behavior.
okay, so I put negative reinforcement.
Me too. Yeah, so if
So
you're
why is
doing
extension?
because you're trying to extinguish the behavior, period.
Okay, right.
So by you not like with the kid, like if the kid's acting up and you turn your back to them, you're trying to extinguish the behavior.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know my answers. Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, I picked that. I picked A and C. Oh my gosh. I picked the right one.
I did too. Okay.
Oh my gosh. I picked A and C and picked the right one. Anyway,
You got it
like,
right?
no, I picked A and C, but it must have. I have the touchscreen on my phone, so it must have just picked like the
Okay.
wrong one. But I had chose A and C because they all intertwine with each other.
Right.
Instrumental conditioning, classical conditioning, same thing as Skinnerian
Mhm.
principles and Pavlovian principles. So yes.
That's what I was thinking of too.
Uh-huh. So it had to be that one. All right, look at you, it's getting good.
I don't know.
Going to go with see if that one's right. Don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that was the first one, like the one that's right, but I was like, I chose the biofeedback, but biofeedback like identifies triggers, triggering response to unwanted behaviors. But by charting the occurrence of the behavior prior to any therapeutic intervention. So that's also another way of identifying triggers and what's causing the person to want to smoke in the first place.
Okay.
So that makes sense too. All right.
I hope
I hope you chose it right. I I don't think I chose it. Well, we'll see. I don't know the first person to do it. All right, so it's Neil Miller. Neil Miller and
I never heard
Ali.
of Neil Miller.
Huh?
I don't think I've ever heard of Neil Miller.
So Neil Miller and Ali Benzizi, they utilized rewards rats could be trained to alter heart rate and intestinal contractions. So the first studies which demonstrated that animals could indeed be conditioned to control automatic processes. That's the key word. So if you jump in, you think all of a sudden you see animal, you think of Ivan Pablo. No, he did that with conditioned stimulus and unconditioned stimulus with dogs and food. But when you
Okay.
think of Neil Miller and Ali Banzizi, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but you think about intestinal and you think about heart rate.
Okay.
Yep. No, I'm a big ones.
Okay.
Okay, you got that right too.
No.
Oh, okay. Only reason I remembered it because I remember hearing something about like what the what the experiment was with the little Albert. Um, let me see what it says here. The key takeaway message from Watson's Little Albert experiment was that the fear was not due to psychopathology deep within the unconscious mind, but rather learning. So if you
Okay.
think about that, you think about unlearning phobias. You think
Okay.
about John B. Watson and Little Albert.
What?
I have no idea. I'm just going. Okay. Don't see how it goes. All right. How'd you do?
No.
Okay. I got it right, but that's only because I ruled out.
How is that?
So I ruled out Skinner and PJ because, well, I ruled out,
Right.
yeah, I ruled them out. So you knew it wasn't B and C. And then only thing I think about was Cure because I didn't know what NLP meant, and I've never seen it attached to Mary cover whenever I've seen it. So Murray cover demonstrates that learning could serve as a treatment for phobia reaction. So it's like a cure, like a cure
Okay.
for phobia. So if you think cure for phobia. And then NLP means neuro linguistics programming, which has nothing to do with that.
Right.
So when you think of Murray Cover, you think of cure to phobias. Okay. How'd you do?
I got it right. Stimulus
Yeah.
generalization.
Yeah, because you sound generalized, but you already feared it and then moves on to something else.
Right.
That's not the same. Yep. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I just picked because I was about to be up.
No.
Freudian typographic hypotheses. Okay, let's talk about that. I didn't think it would be Freud because we haven't talked about him in any of these. It's always been the other theorists. So let's see. Um, trying to look for the question. The process of elimination can work wonders here, even if you can't distinguish Freud's topographic theory from a hole in the ground. You can answer this question by eliminating choices A, B, and C based on the fact that Pablo Jones and Watkins were pioneers of behaviorist movement.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Makes sense now. Okay. You got that one right as well?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Do you want to talk about how you came to that conclusion for treatment model?
I can't forget what the other answers were, but uh,
I shared my screen.
I don't know. They just seemed like it fit.
Yeah, I shared the screen, so you should be able to see what I'm looking at too.
I just see the question.
Oh, really? Okay. So the option was she's non-directive, she's very directive, and she's not an in-depth psychologist. So then I chose treatment model because none of these seem to like match what counseling paradigm is. And when I think of paradigm, I think of treatment model.
Right.
Because you have a paradigm of how you would treat the clients based on where they at.
Mm-hmm.
It's person centered. So okay. Using concreteness. Did you get that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Concreteness is known as specificity in some of the literature. The counselor uses the principle of concreteness in an attempt to eliminate vague language. So it's like being direct.
Right.
Like saying, okay, so you said this was a problem. Tell me more about that problem. Like she could just say what has made your life lousy, but instead she said, well, can you tell me specifically what has made your life bad for the last 6 months?
Right. That's why I think she's being concrete.
Mm-hmm. Straight to the point. Leave no reason for him to think otherwise about the question.
Right.
All right, good.
Yeah, I got that one right.
Okay. Yeah, because it's similar to the last one. She's telling him or her, whoever, directly what to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's not an interpretation. It's not concreteness. It's not like asking a question about something. It's just saying this is what you need to do. This is it. Okay.
Mm.
He was like, I, I'm gonna assume that's the right answer for this.
I know that ain't right. What I just chose. Biofeedback.
All right, I got that right. Wow.
Oh, that's what. Okay, I remember now.
And it tells you exactly like what you're looking for. And also like it's really like a direct thing. Biofeedback does not change the client. It merely provides the client and help it with biological information such that the client can master self-regulation. A scale and a mirror are two simple examples of biofeedback. In counseling, biofeedback devices are used to primarily teach clients to relax or control autonomic nervous system functions such as blood pressure, pulse rate, and hand temperatures. Currently, the practice is popular to help clients with attention deficit disorder. And in the case of ADHD, not all experts are convinced it's valuable. Yep. Any questions about that?
So why is the bathroom scale a biofeedback device again?
Because it's biological. So it gives you information about your biological body, like how much you
Okay.
weigh biologically.
Okay.
And it gives you information so you can determine what to do next.
Okay.
So if you think about mastering self-regulation, you're like, oh my God, I've gained so much weight. I need to eat healthier. So then you're going to start regulating your eating habits based on the biofeedback from the scale.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That was kind of
Okay.
simple, see.
Say that again.
I said that was seem kind of simple.
Yep. And if you think the idea of any reinforcer, negative or positive, is to increase or strengthen the behavior.
I think this is it. Mhm.
How'd you do?
Oh, okay. I'm thinking too. Okay. No, I don't know why I picked that. I get what it was saying. Okay.
Just being yourself. That way you can be your authentic self so the client can feel
Right.
like you're not hiding anything, you're being transparent.
That was a mistake for me.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Next question.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, you got that one?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, the ability to understand the client's world, and empathy is based off like experience as being able to relate. Sympathy is not being able to relate, but can understand where they're coming from. Okay.
I think I might got that backwards. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's not see. Oh, I got it
I
right.
got it. I got it. I got it.
Yeah. So positive when something is added following an operant, it's a positive. If you think operant, you think of something happening, and here's an M&M, right?
Right.
They're getting that positive reinforcement. And then something being taken away is a negative because they're taking away, like the little kid, if they're acting up,
Right.
you're taking away that positive reinforcement of reacting, you're no longer reacting. So you're doing negative reinforcement. Like, I'm not gonna respond to your negativity. I'm gonna reinforce it by not bothering you or looking at you.
Right.
So
I think that's it.
I don't know. Me either. Oh, I was gonna pick that one, but I was like, that can't be right.
Ah, what did you pick?
I picked token reinforcement, though I've heard of it, but then I was like, higher would be like, because now they're choosing something higher above the bill.
Yeah.
Now they're choosing the light as a condition by itself. So it's like a hierarchy of stimulus. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. What you pick? So you picked biofeedback.
Yeah, you know I did.
Yeah, remember biofeedback is like a mirror, a scale, something that gives you
Yeah,
information on the biology.
I don't know what I was thinking. I said, yeah, okay.
No, it's fine. Look, we both messed up right here, so it's all right.
I better got that right. I hope.
I hope so. Look, I hope I got that right. Uh-oh.
Okay. Woo.
Yeah.
I'm
Let me
about to
tell you,
say EKG, EM.
it's for heart rate.
Uh.
It's for heart, right? Yeah.
It's temperature trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And the key word was biofeedback trainer, and
Right.
then temperature. So those two words were in there, and I was like, that has to be right. And
Right.
EKG is about heart rate, and no, EEG, never heard of it. So yeah,
Right. That's what I was doing. I said,
right. It's like those don't even make any sense. So it can't be those. Yep. Process of elimination.
I don't know.
All right. So I picked the wrong one, clearly. And it was EMG feedback.
You
So
picked that?
EMG feedback is Edmonds Jacobs. Okay, let me see. I'm trying to get to
Wait a
the
minute. Wait a minute. EMG is the correct answer, right?
yeah, it's the correct answer.
That's what you picked?
No. I picked the same thing you picked,
Okay.
which was A. So on here I'm trying to look at No reason for complex memory device here, folks. Why not remember that the M in EMG refers to muscle? That was his clue.
Oh, okay. So EMG is muscle.
Yep, EMG. So when you think of EMG, the M would be for muscle.
Okay, I knew EKG. That was heart. I knew
Yeah,
that one.
EKG was heart. Yep. Yep.
I just didn't know what EMG. So now I know muscle.
Yeah, because you think of
Okay.
choice A, it didn't have any muscle. It didn't have the muscle in there as EMG would have M for muscle. So. I don't know.
Mm. I didn't. I don't. My brain's starting to freeze up. Okay, what was it?
It was lower the probability of behavior. It's reinforced by high probability. A lower probability behavior is reinforced by higher probability behavior. According to the pre-MAC principle, an efficient reinforcer is what the client himself or herself like to do. Let's look at that. All right, let me see. So the question, the example or explanation, for test purposes, know that the acronyms LBP is low probability and HPB is high probability behavior. The principle asserts that any HPB, high probability behavior, can be used as a reinforcer for any low probability. The principle is sometimes called grandma's rule or grandma's law. The chances are good that you experience this one yourself at a young age. And when something like, if you eat your vegetables, then I'll let you have dessert. So you want to, and what I'm getting from this is that you want to decrease the fact that the kid's not eating the vegetables by eliciting something that the kid likes to increase it.
Mm-hmm.
So according to pre-max principle and efficient reinforcer, so you utilize what the person likes to do by saying, if you eat this, then you can get whatever you like. So you're trying to decrease the fact that they don't want to eat it, that you kind of get them to eat it based on what I guess the prize is after you eat it. So it's like a reinforcer. So you lower their possibility that they're gonna be like, I don't want to eat this. Versus I'll eat it, so I'm gonna get a snack afterwards. You reduce one behavior to increase another. Oh,
What's EEG?
let's look this up, shall we? EEG is used to secure feedback related to the brain waves rhythms.
Okay.
Yep. So you think of brain
EKG
waves.
is heart. EMG is muscle. EEG is brain waves.
Yep. You got it.
Did your answer come through?
I don't know. It just paused for a second. That was weird. Did it come through now?
Mm-mm.
So hard. Hold on. Okay. I guess it just counted back over.
I had to refresh my screen. Let me see. Uh-oh.
Yeah, me too. That was odd. Now it's counting down to like 13 seconds.
Give me one quick second.
Okay.
Hello? Hello. Give me one quick second. Let me call you right back. Go ahead. I got it right.
Yeah, me too. Because I was like, intermittent is every other time, and extension means doesn't happen at all. And thinning is when you stop at some point, you reduce the reinforcer to make it to extension. And but when you have it every time with the keyword, it's continuous. Right? Look at us.
I think this is it. I don't know.
Same here.
Okay, I got it.
Uh-oh, ratio.
I got it. Okay. You get it?
Mm-mm. The two basic classes of intermittent or partial reinforcement are ratio and interval. You can remember that interval is based on time rather than a number of responses, since in this society we use the phrase time interval. So fixed implies that the reinforcement always takes place after a fixed time or number of responses. Yep. All right.
I don't know.
I don't know either. A variable ratio. Um, the memory device I use for the correct answer, variable ratio, which reminds me of the Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. I remember that this agency is better than an agency going by fixed interval. Perhaps you think of this memory device based on something personal in your life. Just for the record, choice B, fixed interval, or FI is the most ineffective. So a fixed interval. So I chose the fixed interval. Well, I
Me
chose,
too.
yeah. So a variable in ratio. A variable ratio means that like it is. Let me look at the other question because that was in the ratio. Um. Hmm. Because I'm thinking like a variable means like it's not always at the same time, and then ratio. Let me see. Let me get a definition because I want to clarify a variable ratio. A varied ratio schedule is a partial schedule of reinforcement in which a response is reinforced after an unpredictable number of responses. So
Okay.
that's why it's hard to extinguish, because it's not predictable based on the responses. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't even, I was just pick something real quick.
It's stressing me out.
Oh, I got it right, and I just guessed. Now, why is that now?
Subjective use of distress. Okay, let's look at that. Okay, it's a long explanation, but I'll try to make it short. The subjective units of distress, aka known as SUDS for short, is used to help create choice, be the anxiety hierarchy. The in the SUDS, 0 is used to convey a totally relaxed state, while 100 is the most anxiety provoking state a client can imagine. The SUDS helps therapists keep the levels in the hierarchy equivalent from each other. Wolf's systematic desensitization is a popular treatment of choice for phobias and situations which produce high anxiety. So you look at the question. Joseph Wolf created systematic desensitization, a form of reciprocal inhabilitation based on counter conditioning. His strategy has been used in individual and group settings. So when you think of Joseph Wolf, you'll think of desensitization, and you'll think of SUDS, which is used to reduce anxiety-provoking situations,
Okay.
especially within groups. Yep. All right. So we
We
are
made
at
our 50. We got through it.
we made it through. Yay! I hope this session was helpful to you.
Yeah, it was. And it was good one-on-one too, because it, you know, it was good. It was good. Okay. So you said Monday, Thursday, and
So it'll be Monday, Tuesday, and Fridays, 8:30.
okay.
Yeah. So
I may
Monday,
not be able to do next Friday, but I'll do Monday and Tuesday, and I'm gonna just do some of the study sessions that you have.
Okay, awesome. And then I'll upload the videos as usual on here on the YouTube channel, so you can like always go back to where we stopped at,
Mhm.
and then you can just catch up. That way, when you come back, you won't feel behind.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for
Good night.
joining me. And
Thank
have a great
you.
night. You're welcome. I'll see you
Bye-bye.
next week. All right. Bye. Okay, thank you all for being here. Like Lakita indicated that my study sessions are now Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And right now we are on helping professionals in the Purple Rosenthal book, moving through all the chapters. If you want to join, you can join just even if it's pre-recorded, you can join just by going through the questions and just hearing some of the explanations that we all have about why we choose to answer, and the explanation of why this answer was right versus why this answer was wrong. Stay tuned. So I will be posting videos every week, and thank you again. And if you have any questions or anything you want to add, feel free to email me at morethanatherapist22@gmail.com. Thank you so much and have a great night.